Dad, back by popular demand.
Really?
Yeah, many comments on the last conversation we had. They were like, bring back Dad.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's nice to know, isn't
Really
it?
nice to know. Does wonders for my ego.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Well, they all said we want more conversations with Dad, so that's what we're doing.
Well, I'm very happy to be here.
Good. In your own home?
In
You
my
haven't
own
had to
home.
travel far?
No, just from my kitchen to my lounge.
It's not bad. Well, thank you for letting me live here recently, because I've practically been living
When
here.
are you going?
It's another week. It's another 2 weeks.
You can stay for as long as you like.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm working currently very near to where Dad lives, so I'm just sort of living here. But your wife makes very good food.
Sue does great food.
Really good food. I've eaten really well.
So do I, all the time, as you can probably tell.
You can't complain. Can't complain.
I'm
with
not
Sue's
complaining.
food.
No, it wasn't a complaint.
So you currently live in a very kind of quaint, quiet. How would you describe the village that you live in now?
I guess it's not terribly quaint,
Right.
and it's not terribly small. I think there's something like 250 houses.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's quite a lot. Don't
And
you
no
think?
street lights.
No street lights and no natural gas piped into the village. So we all have our own gas tanks, LPG, liquid petroleum gas tanks in the garden. And every now and then a big lorry comes and fills up the tanks. And then we draw our heating and cooking gas from that supply.
So what other places, like towns and cities, the gas is just pumped through like tubes?
Villages of this kinds of size, and sometimes bigger,
Yeah.
have gas supplied into the village in that way, distinct from large cities, conurbations, where clearly you have main supplies of gas.
Nice. I don't see. That's far too adult. I feel like I'm 27, but I'm not yet of the age that would understand anything about where gas comes from. I feel like that's something I'm going to learn in the next 5 years. maybe.
Really?
I have no idea.
27 and you don't know where gas comes from?
Absolutely no
A
idea.
lot of it comes from under the sea. North Sea gas?
Yeah, I'm not talking about original. I'm talking about how it comes into my house and how it powers
pipes.
my. Yeah, but is it a liquid?
Do you know, I don't know. I don't know.
And that's how spoilt we are in this
Anyway,
country
there's a
that it
tank
happens.
and they pump stuff into it.
Yeah.
And then it's attached to your boiler
Right.
and it goes through your boiler, it heats up, and that's
Right.
what gives you your heating and your gas supply for your cooking.
Okay, so in terms of facilities of where you live, is there lots to do? Is it describe the village to me?
It's basically one main road, cuts
Right.
right the way through the village, with lots of other roads coming off that main road. We're not terribly well served here because we don't have a village shop. That would be really, really useful.
Yeah, there's not. Yeah, to be honest, if you want to go for a food truck, you got to go drive 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes. There is another village adjacent to ours that has its own shop, and we sometimes go there, but it's quite limited.
Yeah.
You can get Scotch eggs and milk
Oh, nice.
and basic things.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get variety, you have to go to the supermarkets, which are out of the village and in the city or in the nearby towns.
But you've got a very cute little addition of one of the houses just puts eggs. Do they put eggs outside and you just take them?
It's like a little farm,
Yeah.
and they sell their produce on the side of the road every day between I don't know 9 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
The produce is there, and it's very much a trust system. So
Yeah.
they trust you to pay for it.
Yeah.
They make the prices clear, but
Yeah.
they're not monitoring it. So they trust you to pay whatever it is for eggs, whatever it is for vegetables.
And there's
But
not
that is
been an egg
really
theft yet?
handy. There have been some incidents, even in a village like ours.
There's been
Yes,
some egg theft. Has it gone on the WhatsApp?
it has gone
On the village WhatsApp?
Yeah,
And they've
it
said,
has.
don't you dare
And then
steal
everyone
anything.
is talking about it.
Yeah,
You know.
the village gossip.
But we do have a village hall now, a brand new village hall.
Oh.
So that's good.
What's going on in there?
There's all sorts of things like Pilates and bridge clubs and little shopping events.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it's very villagey.
It's lovely. I love villages.
Yeah.
But you grew up not in a village. You grew up right in the middle of London. So how have you ended up living in a city and now you're living in a tiny village that doesn't even have a shop? How's that different?
I think when I was younger, when I was your age,
Yeah.
all I wanted to do was to live in the city
Yeah.
because I had access to so much that was exciting to me then. So I could go to the cinema, the theatre, there are loads of pubs, clubs,
Yeah.
restaurants. It was all buzzy and really exciting. But I think you mellow as you get older, and you want a slightly quieter life. So I've ended up here in this village where there's no natural gas and no village shop even. There are 2 pubs though, which is very handy. And we have the village green across the way here out of our front room window. So we have a nice outlook. There's nothing, to get stressed about or excited about where we live. But if we get in the car and drive half an hour, we can be in Birmingham, for example, where there's all the things I've just described.
Yeah.
There's Symphony Hall if you want to go to hear an orchestra, for example. And there's the pubs and clubs and the nightlife if you're so attracted
Because you are
to
a
that.
mad clubber, right? You can't keep
Every
him away
Saturday
from a
night.
club.
Absolutely.
He's like, Dad, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. He's like, I'm not leaving.
No,
I'm not getting
that's
off
me.
this dance floor.
So you were watching me last night, were you? Saturday evening on Broad Street in Birmingham,
Goodness.
getting it down
When was the
with
last
the cool
time you went
kids.
into a club? Have you been in a club?
Yeah, but it was a while ago.
Yeah.
When you say club, I think you have to define
Okay.
what club
I'm thinking
means.
like very loud music, dark, nothing but just like people just dancing. Like
With
it's
a
not like a
boom,
bar. Yeah.
All you can hear is
Yeah. So I'm not talking like a nice bar where you can have a conversation. You're not talking, you're just dancing.
Yeah, about 45 years ago. Yeah, about 45 years ago.
I don't like them. I've gone well off them.
Have you?
Yeah.
Because you used to enjoy them.
Yeah, I think like at uni and you have a bit, but then I think it's just the kind of thing that gets old very quickly, and I've just been there, done that, and I don't understand what more I can get from it now. Been there, done that, I want to do something else now. And also, I quite like talking to my friends, and as soon as you go into a club, it's like, right, all conversation's done now.
That's the thing that happens when you get older, right? Because you can't hear things as clearly. You can't. We've just had our hearing tested.
All good?
I am in better shape than Sue is. I've got another 3 or 4 years before I need to hear. I've not told you this
No,
before.
you did. The 3 or 4 years.
3 or 4 years, I will, in all probability, need a hearing aid just to top my
Really?
hearing up a little bit.
I thought hearing aids were just for like when you really can't hear anything.
No. No, your hearing drops off at higher frequencies as you get older.
Oh.
So you can get them so tiny now.
Yeah.
You can't even see them.
Not like those big brown ones that I'm thinking of.
No. I mean, they still exist and you can have those if you want, but these tiny little things, they just go inside your ear there and then you can't see them, but it really enhances your hearing. So one day I think I'll get to that. But if I were to go into a club now, I would stand no chance of hearing anything that's being said.
Well, I don't think I don't like the vibe, and I also don't like not having space. So like, I love dancing, I love music, and I love dancing. But when you're in a club, you've got no space to dance. The only dance move you can do is the shuffle.
So where was the fun in that? When you were going to that scene, where was the fun in it? What enjoyment
I think it was
did
the
you get?
newness of it. It's the fact that like, because you can't go club until you're 18. I was 19. It's like, I'm allowed to do this now. Like it's like this door has opened and someone's gone, do you want to try this? See what's going on in here? And it's like new, and you're with all these friends that you've just made, and it's like, it's the fun thing to do on the week because you've worked hard all week. But now, if I see my friends, probably I haven't seen them for like a month. So I want to catch up. I want to talk to them. I want to have some fun. So my idea of a dream time is like going for a meal with friends, maybe going to like a place with music, but not a club, maybe like a bar, have a little dance, then come back to my house by like 9 o'clock, put on some music in the kitchen, whatever music we want to, have all the space in the kitchen to dance around, and then be in bed by 12.
So it sounds like my perfect evening without the music and without the dancing. Food I can do.
Yes.
Coming back and sitting and maybe watching TV I can do.
And then bed by 12.
Yeah, I think it is an age thing. I mean, talk about being allowed to go into a club, I'm at an age now where they don't allow me to go into those clubs.
They would not.
No, if I were to queue up, the bouncer would just show me the door.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, sorry, that's not for people like you. Well, it might have been 50 years ago, but not
I feel like
anymore.
if I went in, even at 27, I feel like if I went into a club now, I would feel old.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, actually.
I'd be like,
But imagine how I would feel if I attempted to go in.
I think you'd have fun. I can hear your dogs having... Can you hear them?
Yeah, they want their dinner.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Is it dinner time? Roughly,
it's past their dinner time,
Probably
and if they
is.
haven't been fed, they'll start to.
Sue will feed them. They're
Hopefully.
not going hungry, don't worry. They're
Hopefully.
not starving in the corner. They're very well fed.
So you've had most of your life in cities, haven't you?
city. I was talking to my fiance about this the other day. I don't think I grew up in a city. I grew up in a town. Like, I didn't grow up in the middle of a city.
Croydon is...
I didn't live in Croydon.
Oh, no, you didn't. You were a bump in Croydon.
Exactly.
So we moved to Birmingham.
But we always say Birmingham, but we weren't living in Birmingham.
No, we were living in a town outside. Because obviously Birmingham, it's like London.
Yeah.
Birmingham has suburbs.
Yeah.
And they are towns.
Yeah.
And the further out you go, you get into more rural areas.
Exactly.
Where there are villages like we live in here now.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up in a place as rural and sort of...
No.
It was kind of in between a city and this.
Right.
But I loved that for growing up because there's plenty to do.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I was in the middle of a big bustling city. But there was those things I could do with my friends, really nice.
Right.
But you also live by the sea, which is really nice. So of the three... So you've got little village, city like London and the sea. Where is your favourite place to live and for what reason?
You see, it's a very difficult question to answer because each of those three options have their own charm. So if you live in a village like this, it's quiet, it's relaxing, no one's stressing you. The most exciting thing that happens is the postman arrives every day, and we walk the dogs.
Yeah.
We go to the canal and we walk the dogs, we let them off the lead, and it's a nice, gentle pace of life.
Yeah.
In the city, you've got access to everything you could possibly want. All the things you talked about, like nice places to eat, concert venues, cinema, shows, theatre, and it's on tap just half an hour away. So that's the charm of the city for me, but I wouldn't want to live in a city. And we used to live, as you said, by the sea. And that's lovely too, because you've got the scenery, and that's also a relaxing atmosphere. But the problem with that is that everyone goes there.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't really switch off because you're surrounded by other tourists.
Were there bits so that was Cornwall, there are bits that you avoided when the tourists came?
Well, we didn't usually go out in July and August because that's when, they call them emmets.
All right.
So if you are born and bred, if you're native Cornish, then people that come down in their caravans and motorhomes for the summer are called emmets, which literally translates to ants.
Because they all just swarm in.
They just descend.
Wow.
And the locals, I mean, again, it's a double-edged sword because the locals love the revenue that comes from selling the services to tourists.
Yeah.
But it can feel, and having lived there for 6 or 7 years, it can feel like a bit of an invasion sometime.
Yeah.
So it's very much a mixed bag, a mixed blessing to the locals. But on for the most part, Cornish are very friendly people and very welcoming. But it can get a little bit wearing.
Oh, it is very. I feel like it's a completely different place. Like obviously, we would always visit you out of the holiday times.
Yeah.
And then I think one time we came to visit you when it was August or something, and we just very naively said we're going to go to St Ives for the day, and then we went to the train station, so not even in St Ives, it was the train station to get into St Ives, which is like the hub of Cornwall, and it was just the train stop, it was about 4 stops away, and there was a half an hour queue to pay for the parking, and then there was an hour queue to get a train, and I was like, we're not even in the place yet, so we just, no, this is not going to happen.
Isn't that interesting, because getting into the beauty spots in Cornwall can be just like getting into the city.
Yeah.
Because you've got the traffic, the congestion, the hordes of people all flocking to the same thing. So even though they are totally different kinds of locations, there are lots of similarities. If you were to do a Venn diagram and look at that middle semicircle, there's lots of things that would be common to both of those localities. It's interesting, isn't it?
So is there a perfect place to live for you? Is there like where you're living now, is that the perfect balance of everything, or is there something that you feel like you're missing that I wish I had a bit more of this?
The perfect place to live is near where you are, darling.
Oh, of course.
No, I mean
I'm
that.
the hub.
Being near to family is the most important thing.
If family didn't exist then, if you were just on your own,
if I was on my own,
and you could be anywhere,
I'd probably be somewhere like this.
Right.
And I'll tell you why.
Go on.
It's nice and relaxing, it's calming, and there's plenty of lovely walks to take the dogs to.
Yeah.
But if I want to go and hear a concert, I get in the car, and within an easy commute, I'm there, enjoying that, but then I come back to the calm again. But I've lived in many cities and worked in many cities over the years. So New York, I lived in New York for a year. I lived in Munich for 4 years. I've lived in Manila in the Philippines. So I've sampled lots of different big city kind of environments.
Yeah.
And they all have charm, they all have something to commend them. But, you know, I think you do reach a point, and you'll get there as well, where really what you want to do is just be close to your family.
I feel like I'm already there. Like
do?
I feel like I'm not. So where we're living, I think is perfect for me because it's kind of like a big village, small town, and it's got a lovely high street with independent shops, like really boutiquey.
Yeah.
But then also we're a bit further away from the high street, so we don't feel like we're right in the middle of it. So we've got everything we need, but we're not in the middle of a city. Perfect.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Of the places you've worked and like spent time in abroad, if you had to live in one place that wasn't the UK, based on like where you've travelled, where would you most like?
Germany is lovely.
Really?
Yeah.
What's
Germany
great
is
about
lovely. Everything's so clean. I mean, I'll talk about Munich because that's what I know.
Yeah.
It's Bavaria, which is a region of Germany, obviously. My experience of my time there working were the German guys were very, very kind to me.
Yeah.
And very, very welcoming and integrated me. It's quite funny actually because I started to go to night school when I was working in Germany.
Oh, yeah, to learn German?
Yeah, and my boss stopped me. He said, I don't want you doing that.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because I would like the team that you're part of to learn how to speak better English.
Yeah.
Because obviously English is the international language currency. So he wanted the team to learn more about English. And if I were to learn German, I clearly, would not be a native German speaker, so I'd be the poorest communicator.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to be the strongest communicator, so the others would get, would rise to the challenge and become better at English.
How many lessons did you manage of night school?
I think it was half a dozen.
Do you remember anything?
I think in the last video I recited my limited German.
Right. Is it just I want a beer, please?
I think I can order a beer. I think I can ask for a carrier bag in a supermarket.
Nice. That's good.
I think I can. I can generally get by in restaurants and pubs.
Yeah.
But that would be it. Really,
Yeah.
it didn't make sense. The teacher wanted me to learn from the very basics upwards, and
Yeah.
I just really wanted to learn standard phrases that would get me out of trouble.
Yeah, that's not the best way to learn. a
No, I
language.
know that, but I wasn't going to live there forever.
True.
And then I had my boss telling me he didn't want me to learn it at all.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have too much
That's fair enough.
incentive
Yeah.
to learn it. So I didn't.
Munich's
and
lovely. I love Munich.
It's gorgeous at Christmas time.
Oh, I bet.
At Christmas time, particularly. I mean, all seasons have their charm there, but
Yeah.
at Christmas time, it's absolutely lovely. The Christmas markets in Germany are phenomenal.
I'd like to go back to Lake Tegernsee.
Yes,
I loved it there.
we had a great
Like to go
holiday there,
back.
didn't
That was
we?
amazing.
Yeah.
It was so like that. Would I describe that as quaint? Is that the word you'd use?
Quaint, yeah.
Really, just like the buildings were so pretty and like they were out of a fairy tale. It felt like I was
The
in
scenery,
like a gorgeous.
If I remember correctly, you can see the Bavarian mountains from Tegernsee.
Yeah.
You can get on a boat and go on the lake. The weather changes very quickly, though. Because
Yes.
Sue and I went a few years ago and had a short holiday in Tegernsee, and we hired a sports car with a soft top,
Nice.
and the sun was streaming.
Yeah.
So we parked the car and we're going to get on a boat and do a boat trip on the Lake Tegernsee. And I said, no, Sue said, are you going to shut the lid? And I said, no, it'll be fine. Look at the weather. And anyway, I did shut the lid. We got halfway out on the lake and the heavens opened.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen torrential rain like that. And it happened within about 20
But the lid was
25
closed
minutes.
at that time.
It was.
Luckily.
Otherwise, it would have been completely flooded, and it was a hire car. That would have been difficult to explain.
Yeah. How does that happen if you've got your top like? So if I was driving in a car and I was on the motorway and I couldn't pull over to pull it to close the lid, if it started raining, would it just flood the car?
You have a button that you press,
Do you?
a little button, but you have to be going under 15 miles an hour.
Right.
You don't know this, do you?
Is this real or are you joking?
No, I'm serious.
Oh.
I'm serious. But if you're driving at 70 miles an hour and you press the button, the hood will act as a parachute, right? And you'll just be... the speed and the wind will just take you into the air. So the car doesn't let you
Right. Close the
put
lid.
the hood up
Right.
or close the lid when you're doing more than 10 or 15
So you
miles
just have
an
to live
hour.
with it.
So, well, you can pull over
Yeah.
You can pull over and park somewhere as long as you can do that. But otherwise, you have to get wet.
That's the only reason why I won't get a
The
convertible.
only
Not
reason.
because they're crazy expensive, just because of that. Just I could
That's
if I
good
wanted
enough
to,
reason.
but I've just decided
Good Yeah.
it's not for me. It's
Yeah.
not for me. Well, thank you for joining me today. Would
Oh,
you
it's a
like
great pleasure.
cup of tea?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to my dinner actually.
What's your normal cup of tea? How do you have it?
I have my tea quite strong, without sugar. With
Have
milk.
you ever had it with sugar?
Oh yeah, I used to take sugar.
Did you?
I weaned myself off it though.
Yeah, me too. But
Took
now I
10
don't like
days.
tea.
You don't like tea?
No, because I used to like tea when it
With
had
sugar.
sugar in it. Ever since not having sugar in it, I don't think I like it. I think it makes me a terrible British person, but I don't think I like it. So
You
now
have to drink tea. You're a British person. That's what we drink. It's the national drink.
I know. I know. I love like green teas and peppermint teas, but a breakfast tea just needs a sugar, I think. I don't know.
I have a question for you before we finish.
Go on.
So you're going to get married soon.
Am I? Yes, okay, I'm ready.
Yes. I hope that's not a shock to you.
Yes.
When you get married and you wind the clock forward 10 years,
Yeah.
where do you think you'd like to be living?
Pretty much where we are now. I don't
So
like...
describe that in more detail.
not being cut off. I want to feel like everything I need is there, but also I'm far enough away that not everyone's right outside my front door. So like a 10-minute walk maximum from a lovely high street with boutique shops, independent coffee shops,
Yeah.
not like your big branches, you're just your individual little shops. People, oh, hello, how are you? You know everyone in the things. That, lovely. But then probably in just like an elevated house from what we're at. Our house is lovely, but
Yeah,
just
it
like
is.
obviously in 10 years' time, I'd like to always step
Yeah,
up.
Yeah.
Happy as Larry.
So you're not a beach girl.
No,
you're not
I
a
hate the
seaside
sand.
girl.
I love the sea, hate the sand. So, but there's nowhere in this country that's near the sea that would make sense for us to move to without being really far away from people.
Right.
So I'm just cutting off the sea as anything for me. Then, like, I'll happily go to Liverpool and see the sea from a distance, but I don't want to be
A
on the
significant
beach.
distance.
Yeah, but I don't want to be like on the beach.
Right.
So I'm happy not to be on the beach.
So not near the beach.
No, I'm fine with that. Well, I grew up in the middle of the country, so the sea
Yeah,
is
it's a
not
long way
in
away.
my...
Yeah. And certainly not in the middle of a city.
No, I'll never do that.
Right.
No, I'll never go right in the middle of a city. And I don't think I'll ever move more south than we are now as well. I think just north for the win.
So is where you are a village or a city or a town?
I think it's classed as a town. It's a town, but it feels more like a big village.
Yeah.
But
okay.
it's technically a town.
Well, you've just moved there and we saw your house the other day and it's beautiful. So you've chosen well.
Thank you very much. We need to buy more curtains. Still not got curtains.
I know.
So
Curtains
we're
are
being woken up
important.
by the sun every morning. Like, oh, hello, sun. So it feels very caveman-like, but we need to get more blinds. Thank you very much for joining me. Is this quite a businessman-like?
This would
Right,
be...
do your best business handshake. So, like, if when you were doing business,
Uh-huh.
what would be your business handshake?
It would be, well, pleasure to do business with you. Thank you so much for the deal. We are
No problem.
very grateful that you're working
Anytime.
with us in the way that you are. And
Anytime.
so, all the very best and we will do
Thanks
a
very
very
much.
good job for you.
Interesting. So the hand and the arm hold.
It's a power thing.
That's
a power
interesting.
thing. It's a power thing and it's a reassuring thing depending on how you use it.
Yeah.
So just then, was that a power thing or was it reassurance?
Reassurance for me, because
Yeah.
I'm your daughter.
That's how I intended it.
I've never
though.
had a handshake like that.
Have you never watched Donald Trump?
Is that how he does them?
Oh,
Thank you so much. That's great. Imagine if you both did it though. But if both people do it, then you end up in this weird like hand lock thing.
Do you know what? For maybe our next conversation, we should talk about body language because that
That's a good one.
fascinates
Is
me.
it?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So if
stay
anyone
tuned.
is interested in, a chat about body language and how
Put it in the
that can be
comments.
used to advantage in business, then
Or business in general. I feel like people would be
Broader
interested to hear your
subject.
take on business.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for part 3 with my dad, where we talk about business. Pleasure doing business with you.